Sometimes the project home builder aren't always going to be the best choice for a lot of people. When we're doing our duplex development and townhouses, we normally contract it out with a local builder, do custom build. The time frame might be a little bit longer than a project home builder, but I think that I always get a better quality out of it. They're big corporations basically. You're only one of the small clients in there. All right. I mean, the way we do it, we use a custom builder. We don't use a project builder. We have project up in Central Coast, down south in South Coast. We tend to use local people to do the job because I find the cost is just a little bit more competitive because they already set up in the local area. The trades doesn't have to travel. So that's one question answered. The second part, in terms of the process, I mean, we always do our own design. We never let the design go through a building company just so we can save some upfront cost. Because there are companies out there that offer the one-stop shop solution where you approach them with your own resident that you bought maybe 10, 20 years ago. You want to knock it down, put a duplex on it. They will say, okay, from here onwards, let's just sign an agreement with whatever deposit. They give you a rough idea of how the structure is going to cost, but then you will never work through all the specification of the house with them upfront prior you paying the deposit. So once the deposit paid, you have a rough figure. That's normally their standard terms. They go, well, the tiles are 30 square meter tiles. Here's our selection range. If you want to have nicer tiles for your own family enjoyment, maybe you want to upgrade your oven to a 900 mil oven instead of a 600 mil oven. This is going to be upgrade. That's upgrade as well. You want to cover on your fresco in the backyard, like you want a roof in your fresco backyard. Well, that's going to be addition as well. They don't normally include your landscaping, your driveway, renewing all the fencing, clothesline. The choices that you have is very limited because they only work on certain design types, and the modification you can do on those designs are limited as well. And if you wanted to chop and change too much, that's going to be again additional cost to you. So you never get a clear picture as to how much you need to budget for the build, right? The way we do it is we buy our own block of land with the old house on it. We do the market research ourselves, finding out, say, for instance, a duplex build. We find out, okay, what's the configuration works best? Is it single garage, double garage? Is it 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom? Do they want a second living upstairs? What people, have to say when you reduce your ceiling height or increase your ceiling height, right? And all of that stuff we put into consideration. We do our own custom design kitchen, bathroom, all of the fittings as well. We do our own tile selection, floorboard selection. Is the stair going to be glass balustrade, or is it just going to be some painted timber work, or are they going to be nice Tasmania oak? We work through all of that finishes before we get into a construction contract with the builder. And same thing goes with the planning, having the DA or having all your DA consent or construction certificate. We do all our work, all of that work in-house ourselves. Obviously, we contract out with architects and private certifiers and stormwater engineers and whatnot. But we are the ones in the driver's seat through this whole process. Because how you design it, what finish you put into it will have a huge impact on your construction cost. And then down the track, we're going to sell one or we're going to sell both. The level of the finish will dictate what kind of price point you can command on sales as well. Right? So the short answer is we do all our DA construction certificate in-house. We do all our interior design, and we come up with a specification of works. for our builder to tender, because every work we tender out to at least 3 sets of builders, and the tender documents they receive is actually a full scope of what they need to build. So once I handed over the piece of document to them, which is called the tendering document, what's really important is you're gonna have a specification of works which describe down to every single line item what people can touch and feel and see on all those details in your kitchen, your bathroom, your tiles, your floorboards, what color is the building, how's the facade looks like, does it have any extra timber batten over the ceiling, balcony, how is that going to be finished, is it brick veneer or cladding, and every single detail you can touch and see as you walk into a house are all sitting there. So that document will ensure when I send the document to builder for quoting, that's what they're going to be quoting on, nothing else. They don't use their own standard specs, they don't use their own standard tile selections and whatever, because everything is specified. So then if I send the same document to 3 sets of builders, they all come back to me with the pricing reflecting what I specified in that document. Then we're comparing apple with apples. Because otherwise, you can be having a set of architectural drawings and structural drawings and then give it to builders. Mr. Builder, can you give me some pricing? They will, because you didn't provide that. So what are they going to do? They're not going to come back to you and have half an hour or half a day consultation to say, what do you want for your kitchen? What do you want for your bathroom? What do you want? What taps you want? What kitchen layout do you want? Do you want windows? And the list goes on. Obviously, you got to get your wife involved in that as well. That could be a very long and slow process to get through, and it's painful sometimes. The builder just doesn't have the patience for that. So they will simply chuck their standard specs to you and come up with a pricing, which is your basic structure for the architectural drawings and their spec of finishes. And guess what? Each builder have their own spec finishes. What happens then is you're gonna come back, those builders, you're gonna receive 3 sets of different quotes from 3 different builders, and each one of them have different level of finishes. And then you're gonna scratch your head and you're gonna go, how am I gonna compare those quotes? One quoted for, an upmarket kitchen with 1.2 by 600 mil tiles throughout. The other one quoted your standard 300 by 600 mil tiles with a medium to low end finished kitchen. All of that is the question. But all of that could have been answered if you have a full scope of work up front before you send it to the builder, right? And then that's something we actually do. So buyer's agent business, obviously, we help people to buy property to suit whatever their requirement is. And generally, people coming to us are after some sort of properties with a duplex potential. Once they bought it, they might not build it straight away. Similar to your scenario, people normally want to have a bit of financial break. After they bought the property, they need to accumulate the deposit for their construction costs as well. They will buy property through us, but then they're going to sit back for another 2 years while they're living there or doing whatnot and accumulating some cash for construction deposit. Then they come back to us saying, Terry, I need to start, similar to what you were saying, I want to start a building. So I can look after all of that DA approval, construction certificate, or / CDC approval, and construction certificate, but most importantly is the scope of works. That's going to be the overarching document on top of the builder's contract, right? That's the base the builder is going to be tendering on, and that's what they're going to deliver as per the construction contract. Obviously, that piece of document needs to be built into the construction contract as well. Otherwise, it stands for nothing. It's not a contractual obligation. It's basically a project manager work. But it doesn't start from when you engage with the builder. It starts market research to find out, is it going to be a 3-bedroom duplex, 4-bedroom duplex? Does people have additional requirement, right? For the one you wanted to sell. Now, for the one that you want to move in with your family, you got to also consider, do I want 2-bedder? Do I want a 3-bedder? Do I want 4-bedder? Do I want a living upstairs? How's my kitchen layout needs to be? You need to ask your wife about it. And do you want some particular north-facing aspect to be taken advantage of, or you're happy with the standard design? So we need to work through all of that, incorporate that into the building, obviously along with your budget at the same time. So the market research to dictate your building type, whatever the configuration of the duplex is crucial, along with understanding how much you want to spend on a build is also crucial, because no point spending extra cash building a 5-bedroom duplex on each side and the market is only expecting 3 to 4 bedders. The market simply can't afford it. But for the one that you wanted to keep, then that's a different story. It's for your own lifestyle and enjoyment down the track. You mean construction fundings? How do you know if you have the capacity to borrow the construction funding? So the project really starts from the planning work, which is getting up your architecturals and whatever designs. So it starts from there. But are you asking me, so at how early can you find out the construction cost, and are you able to afford it? Then that's the second question, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay, all right. So I reckon if we have, so obviously you need to know, you need to know your financials right now. You need to have a broker in place. You need to know how much equity you can pull out of your existing house, and then a rough understanding how much construction costs you'll be able to pay. That's basically taking up another loan with the bank.
Yeah.
So you have a rough idea about that, then you're worried about, okay, can I actually really afford it based on my serviceability, current serviceability, and deposit that you already have?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Very simple. I reckon from the time you have a concept plan, you should be able to have a pretty good understanding as to whether you can afford the build or not. Because the concept plan is a document, it's obviously drafted up by an architect or draftsman. It's going to have your wall, and it will have all the preliminaries, where the kitchen is going to be, what's the total internal square meter of the build. It won't have all the finishes. We can have a 15-minute session to understand what your expectations are. Or even easier, if you just say to me, I'm going to sell one unit, and for the unit that you want to live in yourself, it's going to be roughly of the same finish. Then we can easily do the market research and understand where the market expectations are in terms of the finish levels.
Yeah.
With the concept design and the market research, we should be able to have a very good understanding on how much you need to budget for the build. And then from there, you might say, okay, I actually want to spend a little bit more on my own. Then you can put things in. Or if you say, oh, I think it's going to be over by 50 grand to 100 grand, we can then dial it back as well. But without a concept plan, it's really hard to say anything about it. And obviously that rough idea is not anything concrete or specific. It's just based on the estimate, after a few conversations with a couple builders. Okay? I hope that answers your question.